Hollywood Land. Right, it used to say that, didn't it? Then they got rid of it. And then in BoJack Horseman, it turned to Hollywoo. Huh. Let's see what they have to say about this one. The sign is said to be haunted by early 1900s actress Peg Entwistle. When a possibly career-ending review was published about one of her films, Entwistle climbed to the top of the sign's H and threw herself off of it. She's now called the Lady in White and is said to haunt the sign and the surrounding area. The legend continues to state that the Lady in White will appear to people hiking in the off-limits part of the sign where she had killed herself. Instead of the beautiful Hollywood actress, what appears to these unfortunate people is a woman with a skeletal face and deep, hollowed-out eyes. If those hikers are alone, the Lady in White somehow influences them to share her own cruel fate. Yikes. I mean, yeah, a bad review can be career-ending. Maybe that's how the journalist from the Hotel Cecil got his 3 killings. He wrote 3 bad reviews. No, that might be too morbid, but I mean, come on. I actually didn't know that the Hollywood sign was said to be haunted. I didn't know about this story at all. That's insane. I'm sure plenty of people have gone there and explored and yeah, maybe seen the Lady in White. Hopefully not too many people climb up that sign though.
Some locals state that this lake has a passageway to hell if you swim deep enough. The first sighting of the Elizabeth Lake monster dates to the 1830s, when a Spaniard named Don Pedro Corrillo built his ranch on the shores of the lake. His ranch was burnt to the ground that night by an unknown creature. The monster is said to have a giraffe neck, head of a bulldog, 6 legs, and bat wings. The monster is estimated to be 50 feet long and it smells like death.
It smells like death?
At night, the locals would hear screams coming from the lake, and they would hear unnatural noises, and they would have visions.
I'm sure this narrator is super knowledgeable and loves this topic, but he's not convincing me. It sounds like he's giving a book report. What does death smell like? That's what I want to know. I want in the comments immediately, what does death smell like? I'd say maybe rotten eggs and sulfur, or maybe I don't know, blood. Otherwise, there's a lot going on here. A portal to hell at the bottom of the lake. Also a beast. Also that drawing of the beast with Born to be Evil on his t-shirt. I want that t-shirt. Somebody get me that t-shirt. I'll grow an extra couple pairs of legs if I need to, just to get that t-shirt. Fly around, Born to be Evil, wearing a chain with a skull on it. Hell yeah. But this whole ranch lake area does sound pretty rough to be around.
There are beautiful mountains from Avila Beach to Monterrey called Santa Lucia Mountains. These mountains are full of life and full of mysteries. Around the twilight hours, these entities known as the Dark Watchers can be seen. The Dark Watchers are ghostly figures that first emerged in the Chumash Indian lore. Paintings on the cave's walls were found depicting the Dark Watchers. When the Spanish settlers arrived into the area in 1602, they were said to have seen the Dark Watchers, which they were called Los Vigilantes Oscuros.
It's terrifying. Do they do anything though? If they're just Dark Watchers, we don't have too much to worry about. They're just watching us. We always feel like we're being watched. Still, that's creepy though. Those piercing white eyes showing up against the dark silhouettes. That's freaky, especially in the mountains. I feel like that's kind of yeah, you're hiking there at night, anything can happen, and it's going to be freaky. It's going to be scary as shit. It's going to be nuts. I would like to hike there. I was about to say I wouldn't hike there, but I would like to hike there. I feel like I've been in enough woods at night, but without urban legends, that it's time to really just ramp it up, see what we can find. Hello everybody and welcome back to Top 10 Central Dark, your place for all things horror. I'm your host Keegan Hughes, and these are the 10 creepiest urban legends from California. Gotta love it. Lots of crazy stuff goes on in California, I'm sure, from the inception of it up to the very present. So let's get started.
Turnable Canyon is one of the great hiking trails in Los Angeles County. However, there is a more dark and sinister side to this canyon. There's the mountain lions and rattlesnakes, but there's also history of gruesome events, such as satanic rituals, ghosts, hangings, kidnappings, KKK meetings, and even a gravity hill. There's even some claims of seeing UFOs and extraterrestrial activity take place here.
feel like we started slow and ramped it right up there, you know? Mountain lions and rattlesnakes, and then listing everything, all in like the fastest sentence possible. This is an area that I think people should just stay away from. If this is all the case, you know, there's the rattlesnakes and the mountain lions to start with, right? Like that's dangerous, bar none. But then you start getting involved with satanic rituals and UFOs and ghosts and ghouls, demons, goblins, KKK meetings, everything, and the kitchen sink happens here, and it all happens at once. So you better be careful if you're visiting here. My goodness, bring a flashlight.
Dark Watchers is a name given to a group of entities that have appeared in
Maybe we'll get more info on the Dark
California
Watchers.
folklore for the past several hundred years, purportedly stalking travelers along the Santa Luisa Mountains. They are almost always spotted around twilight and are usually seen staring upwards toward the sky, standing atop the mountains. They are described as tall, sometimes giant-sized, featureless dark silhouettes, often adorned with brimmed hats or walking sticks.
Yeah, I guess we got some more details this time. That's interesting that they're all wearing like that kind of mountain climber attire, the walking stick, the wide-brimmed hat, stalking other hikers. So they must be hikers or pioneers from another time, right? If we're going to be seeing things like that, I'm sure a lot of pioneers hiked through said mountains to try and find California, the land of milk and honey, and didn't quite make it. In fact, I know for a fact there are plenty of people who ended up with that kind of gruesome fate. So I guess this one, this makes a lot of sense considered on the context. The Griffith Park curse. See, I'm just looking at this image first before I read the description here. It looks like a nice park, you know, you're overlooking a city, you've got a lot of trees, some bushes, a nice walking path, looks like a nice breath of fresh air, but I'm sure I'm about to read something totally insane. Let's see what we got. The land once belonged to Spanish soldier Jose Vicente Feliz, given to him by a Spanish land grant. After his death, the land passed to Maria Ignacia Verdugo, who had wed one of Feliz's sons, and then it passed to her son, Don Antonio Feliz. It's alleged that Don Antonio's friend, Antonio Colonel, tricked Don Antonio Feliz into giving him the land as Feliz lay on his deathbed. As a result, Feliz's teenage niece, Petronila, cursed the land, saying, "A blight shall fall upon the face of this terrestrial paradise. The cattle shall no longer fatten, but sicken on its pastures. The fields shall no longer respond to the toil of the tiller. The grand oaks shall wither and die. The wrath of heaven and the vengeance of hell shall fall upon this place." That is a hardcore curse. You go, niece. My goodness. I'm not so sure that Griffith Park fell to that curse, though, because if we take a look at that picture, it looks pretty green. Looks pretty well-tilled, the soil there. I don't know what's going on. Maybe the curse was there for a bit. Maybe, I mean, I don't see people raising cattle on it. Could be the case.
In the 1930s, there used to be a mental hospital located in the canyon somewhere. It had a good run until the 1940s, when it burned down. In 1962, a group of friends were partying in the ruins of the hospital one night. One of the boys saw one of the electroshock devices that were used at the hospital when it was active, and was electrocuted. The voltage was strong enough to kill him, though apparently the electricity had been shut off since the fires happened 20 years earlier.
Ghost shock. Yowza. I mean, as interesting and scary and generally alluring as abandoned hospitals are, there's a lot of dangerous stuff in hospitals. You know, they could have left behind like some old like sharps boxes. They could leave behind old equipment, right? There could be all sorts of rotting nonsense hiding in the eaves. That's wild though, that there's no electricity and somehow this thing discharged enough to kill a grown individual. Ghosts. Electrical ghosts. The Santa Ana winds. All right, looks like a Google Earth image. There are, I mean, I think I can see some winds there. Not often you say you can see the wind, eh? They're strong, dry, and hot, and sometimes make you feel as if you're standing in front of a massive open oven. They typically occur in the fall as high-pressure winds in the Great Basin move up at high speed across the desert towards the low-pressure air of the coast. Folks like to pretend that there is something mystical about the winds that can cause people to behave more aggressively than usual. It's Los Angeles' very own Mercury in retrograde. I mean, standing in front of a hot oven can, you know, agitate anyone. I would assume, like, that's just like a physiological response. Have you ever, like, dropped something in the hot oven and had to, like, pluck it out so it doesn't, like, smoke up and, like, cause your alarms to go off? Like, that's stressful. One with some tongs or an oven mitt, you're like, the whole time. I would say that's what's happening here. I don't know if it's mystical, but it's hot, it's spicy, and it's making people upset, just like me. The Hotel Cecil. When this Art Deco style hotel opened in downtown LA in 1927, it was considered quite posh. However, the Great Depression took its toll and the hotel fell into disrepair. Over time, it would become the stuff of nightmares. Serial killer Richard the Night Stalker Ramirez stayed at the hotel in the 80s, and Austrian killer Jack Unterweger booked a room in the hotel in 1991. During Unterweger's stay in Los Angeles, during which he was on assignment as a journalist, he murdered 3 women. That's not what journalists are supposed to do. They're supposed to write stories. They're supposed to do research, investigate. You're not supposed to go killing people, Jack. In 2013, a young Canadian tourist named Eliza Lamb checked into the hotel but never checked out. Her body was found several days later on the roof in one of the hotel's 4 water tanks. Although her death was ruled an accidental drowning, it's still unclear how she ended up in the tank. These grim incidents, combined with several suicides and the unsolved murder of a woman in her room in 1964, have led many to believe that the hotel is haunted or home to some pernicious entity. Yeah, I mean, that does sound about correct, doesn't it? After all that went on there has to be a little something extra going on. Whoever Cecil was, Cecil, they're watching over and causing some problems. My word.
Gravity hills are locations at the base of a slope or hill, where supposedly if you park your car and leave it in neutral, it will somehow roll up the slope of the nearby hill. They are also occasionally known as magnetic hills, gravity roads, or mystery hill. Scientific reasoning often explains that this is an optical illusion which makes it appear as if you are rolling uphill. Supposedly, if you take out a carpenter's level, it will actually prove that you are indeed rolling downhill.
That's just fun. I want to visit one of these just to see what it's all about. That's wicked. That's a great kind of urban legend, especially when there's like videos like that out there just showing you something crazy going on. I want to see this in motion. I want to be there when it happens. I think that's fascinating. I'd like to know more about this particular urban legend. And that is all the time we have for today, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you stick around for some bloopers because I know I messed up a lot today. My goodness. Again, let me know, please, what death smells like. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. That's just like, it's so cool. Like, just tell people that story. It's what is going on with me? Oh, my goodness. Why am I hungry so much? Ugh. Coffee hasn't kicked in. It's like noon. Until next time, thanks. No, what? I've never said that before. Until next time. Or maybe I have, but I messed up like this. So what I'm going to say instead is the Hotel Cecil. Cecil Hotel. Or is it Cecil? I'm sure everybody in the comments knows this. I haven't watched the documentary yet. I've only, like, read about it, you know? Hollywood. I spoke too long without breathing. Oh boy. I mean, what is happening, man? Ugh.